buenos dias. Hello, I come to you today to say hello, of course, and to ask you, is garbage better than nothing? Is garbage better than an empty container, so to speak? And if you've been looking at my videos, listening to my videos, then you know that I love speaking metaphorically. So everything is a metaphor, not everything, of course, but a lot of what I say is a metaphor. So when I ask, is garbage better than an empty container? I'm saying that metaphorically because I know you know exactly what I mean, right? And so specifically thinking about time, time. I'm always talking about time because time to me is truly the most valuable resource that I have, that most of us have, because we can obtain a lot with time, but there's a lot of things that we cannot obtain with other things. And so the reason why I ask you, is garbage more valuable than an empty container? Because a lot of times that's how we treat our time. A lot of times we say, we're bored, I need something to do. Or it's too quiet, I need something to listen to. And we act as if that void is the worst thing in the world, right? Like the worst thing in the world, is stillness really the worst thing in the world? Is quiet really the worst thing in the world? Is nothing to do, nothing on the agenda the worst thing in the world? I used to be notorious with that. Every time I got in the car, I have to turn something on, NPR, music, what have you. And now I have so much pleasure in an empty sound. It annoys me that when I get into the car, every time I get in, my Bluetooth automatically connects and starts my music system. To me, that is so disrespectful. Why do you assume every single time I get into my car, I want to turn on the music or sound or whatever it is? But the reason why they do it is because that's what the majority of people want. And if I be honest, it took me a very long time to get to this point. I've been like this for over a decade, but for the majority of my life, I needed the sound all the time, right? But the danger in that, we always want to know, okay, what's the danger in it? So what? I like sound, I like to hear it, it makes me feel better. The danger is you may be misaligned because you're acting impulsively. And when we act impulsively, we get impulsive products. So that means it's not intention behind what we're doing. And I am a believer that the more we are aligned with where we're supposed to be, the better the products that we get, the better the benefits that we get. It's just like your GPS. If you set your GPS, you know where you're going, you're more than likely to get there. If you say, well, I'm just driving around, you may see the most beautiful sunset that you have never seen by just driving around. And if that is your intention to just explore, but you can also drive into a ditch, right? You could also drive into the worst area that you've ever seen by just driving around. And so that's why I say, be intentional with your time and the space that God gives you. And that intention is not anything new. A lot of times we hear this lingo, intention, and, thinking that it's new. It's not new. God said, be still, to pray without cease. And that's another misconception that I had. Pray without cease. Every single second I'm walking around praying, I won't have time to do anything else. And what that means is absolutely it means to talk to God often, but it means to have that ear open without cease. That you are constantly trying to understand what He's telling you to do, where He's telling you to go. That's what the praying without ceasing is about. You are constantly connected to God, the power that is higher than you, because you don't know everything. I don't know everything, right? We don't know everything. And if we did, there would be no reason to pray without cease. So that's what that praying without cease means. You're constantly connected. There's not these moments where He's irrelevant in what you're saying and what you're doing and how you're spending your time. And so again, I ask, is garbage better than an empty can, an empty container, because that's how we treat the time that we have sometimes. Oh, it's quiet. I'm just going to turn on the radio and let them choose what I listen to. Oh, I have nothing to do. Oh, sure, I'll go out on a date. How many times have you said that? How many times have you've heard friends say that over the years? Oh, sure, I'll go out on a date. There's nothing else to do. Oh, sure, I'll go to the mall. There's nothing else to do. And where is your vision in that there's nothing else to do? Is it spending quality time with someone who you love, who you appreciate? That's absolutely a beautiful thing worth your time. Is it reading a book where you could be spiritually enlightened, gain a new skill, or tickled if it's fiction, and brought joy in that way? It's not to say that you have to be working, because constantly, I'm saying, preaching to the choir that I'm in, that work is not always the way. You need a moment to refresh. But what is important to me is intention, that when you decide to do something, when you decide to listen to something, when you decide to watch something, that there is a meaning behind it. Because you are valuable and you're worth more than just doing something because there's nothing to do, or seeing someone because there's nothing to do, or listening to whatever because there's no sound. And so I just pray that you will be open, to what God has for you to do in this moment. What is going to bring you benefit in this moment? What is the value you're going to give to someone else in this moment? You are more valuable than just filling a can with garbage or what have you, filling a can with whatever because you don't want it to be empty. I challenge you to be uncomfortable with the stillness, be uncomfortable with the quietness, so that you can see the value that comes out of it. And it's only going to happen after you've done it a while. It's just like anything else. You have to get used to it. And then all of a sudden, there's these ideas of what you can do, how you can spend your time, who you can spend your time with, when there's not that assumption that you just have to be impulsive and grab the first thing that's next to you. So have a blessed day. Shout out to Hisham, to Heather. I hope you are enjoying your day. Hope it's beautiful where you are, and take care.